That takes us to the second and connected segment. We go to JNU, where it all began. They were back at it. Student leaders of the left gathered inside JNU on January 5 to recall a 2020 clash with the right-wing ABVP. So far, so good. But it soon degenerated into a sloganeering contest in support of Omar Khalid and Sharjeel Imam, who were denied bail by the Supreme Court the same day in the morning. The pictures took me back a decade when in 2016 I was covering another round of JNU student protests from the ground, right inside the campus. Then the protests were in support of convicted and hanged terrorist Afzal Guru and Maqbool Bhatt and ended with Bharat Tere Tukde Honge slogans. Protests and student politics are par for the course for a university. That is how you groom the young for politics and public office, after all. But to normalize breaking up of India was not par for the course, and action followed. Same Omar Khalid, now denied bail in Delhi riots case, was part of those protests. It was a charged atmosphere at the JNU admin block. Hundreds were gathered and included faculty, not just the students. Someone came from the crowd while I was reporting live and disrupted, asking us to leave, as the narrative which I was speaking of was not to their liking. Those belonging to the left literally had this sense of ownership of the JNU campus to the exclusion of every other ideology. In some ways, they still do. Why has JNU remained a left bastion since its founding in 1969? Story goes back to the freedom struggle and its leadership. The Indian National Congress then was an amalgam of varied ideologies of all hues from left to right. The troika of Nehru, Gandhi and Patel itself represented left, center and right respectively. It was the kind of movement where a Lenin acolyte, M.N. Roy, could coexist with a staunch Hindu, Kanhaiya Lal Munshi, as could socialist Jayaprakash Narayan and a capitalist G.D. Birla in between. But post the Meerut conspiracy case of 1935 and acceptance of the Dutt-Bradley thesis, the communist element increasingly gained prominence within the Congress. It was a conscious move to take control of the Congress, and this got further strengthened with the success of the Soviet experiment in Russia, giving hope to many freedom fighters that it could be a post-independence model to follow in India as well. This, in turn, led to a situation where it seemed like the Congress would be completely taken over by the communists. The fear of a left takeover of the Congress and the possibility of a revolution must have been so real that even Mahatma Gandhi calibrated his views towards more radical positions on economic and class issues, for example. Land would be taken over by farmers and compensation of landlords would not be fiscally possible, he would tell journalist Louis Fisher in one of the interviews. Nehru himself was left of center and an admirer of the Soviet experiment. And when he became Prime Minister in 1947, perhaps in one of his most understudied political maneuvers, made an arrangement in which, while the political power stayed with the Congress, the intellectual space through India's universities was tactically ceded to the left. By giving the campus to the left, Nehru shot many birds with a single stone. For one, with all the intellectual steam letting that a campus allows, the probability of a revolution or a left takeover of the Congress party receded into backwaters of politics. Two, the left-leaning campuses flooded all echelons of government under Nehru and across India. If the Planning Commission gave commanding heights to the state, the left-leaning foreign policy establishment made sure India found itself in the Soviet bloc in the name of non-alignment. And the larger bureaucracy that formed the steel frame, whether from St. Stephen's or Delhi School of Economics, only represented various hues of Marxism. A purge followed that left all institutions across the country bereft of any counter-ideology. Ask the likes of economist Jagdish Bhagwati, for example, why he could not flourish at D school, and it would become clear what I mean by purge. Third, and so far as politics go, the most crucial bargain for the secular Nehru was that this made sure the Hindu right would not get any toehold among the universities of the country, thus depriving them of young talent. Only a quarter century later, when emergency Shah Bano and the Ram Temple movement came together, that the right would attract masses towards it. On hindsight, it seems even the RSS saw into this. For it might not just be a coincidence that the student wing of the Sangh, ABVP, was set up in 1948, years or decades before the VHP in 1964 or the BJP itself in 1980. Set up in 1969, the Jawaharlal Nehru University imbibed those values and got co-opted by that left ecosystem. At the very least, you had to be a free thinker, if not loony left. Ask union ministers, Jaishankar and Nirmala Sitharaman, in the present government. I recall an anecdote from an IS officer friend who was at JNU in the 1980s. His students would get to attend seminars or conferences at the nearby Ashoka Hotel or in some other five-star hotels, as it happens in academia. While having the lunch, they would pocket the expensive cutlery, bring it to the campus, only to leave them at the hostel mess. It was not stealing for them. It was transfer of wealth from the rich to the poor. It was the anti-capitalism zeitgeist of the JNU campus, so to say. That left DNA has continued. Only that the tap of benign indulgence from the establishment has run dry, and the right wing has made some strides over the last decade. Remember, the first NDA government under BJP was headed by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who for all his Sangh upbringing remained a politician of the Nehruvian mould. But the BJP and the NDA under Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a different animal altogether. Remember what Guardian wrote in May 2014, that with the victory of Modi, the British have finally left India. Given the imperatives of freedom on campus, the Modi government too has done a balancing act. While the administration has been strict on anti-national tendencies of some, by and large, the diversity of political opinion has been allowed to remain. There's a reason for a close watch. Remember, Pakistan was born on the campuses of Cambridge in the ideas of Rahmat Ali and nourished by the Aligarh school centered around the AMU, much before the Lahore Resolution. Imam and Umar tested the resolve of the present establishment, and they have been shown their place. But we need the Indian state to remain as tight-fisted and vigilant as it has been in the present case. A hard state. That's been my contention. Brook no indulgence. That's where the Umar Imam bail verdict draws a new red line. I, on my part, go to the JNU campus every year around the time of student union elections and listen to the debates and the speeches. Just to keep a finger on the pulse, I can tell you the quality of the debates is good. The youth is aware and know what they are up to. For the black sheep, the tap of indulgence has run dry.